Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Robin, or A Hobbit's Reading List, and this week we are going to figure out what I will be reading in December. For anyone who hasn't watched any of my previous TBR game videos, I play a TBR game that is based off of Trivial Pursuit, even using a Trivial Pursuit board. It has nothing to do with trivia. I'll say that right now. I use it because it's Lord of the Rings and I'm a Hobbit, so. But the different colors on the board represent the 6 most common genres on my TBR, which are romance, classics, Jewish, fantasy, LGBT, and psychology. And I hope I didn't repeat any. And then the bigger spots at the end of the spoke represent Miscellaneous to account for all the other books. So usually I roll 7 times, which I will continue doing for this video. And I also have an option to add a book if I land on a roll again spot, which we might, who knows. I do also have a consequence book, which I will go over at the end, because I didn't finish more than 2 books on my November TBR. Or I guess technically, yeah, I didn't finish 2 or more books. There you go. That's the way to say it. If there was only 1 book that I hadn't read from my TBR, then I wouldn't get a punishment. But it's been a long time since that's happened. I typically always have a punishment book, which is fine. I'm, picking up books that maybe I wouldn't normally. So I think that's all the rules. Normally I would try to be like a little seasonal, and because it's December and the holidays are coming up, I would typically try to skew all my books towards winter and holidays. And while I may be able to skew some of them towards winter, I really only have 1 holiday book, like winter holiday book on my shelves, and I will try to get it into the TBR, but I really only have the 1, which is unfortunate. I guess I read so many last year that I kind of read them all, I guess. But, so let's just see what the theme is going to be, I'm sure the dice will tell me what the theme will be. So this first roll, I essentially get to choose. So I will say I'm going to aim for classics to just get one of the required books for December just into it. 6. Which, of course, I say that, and then I roll to where I can only get Miscellaneous. That's great. Awesome. I guess I'll just go ahead and go with that one. My lowest rated Miscellaneous book. So that's essentially just my lowest rated book in my TBR, which is going to be fun. Cool. So for the first roll, I got my lowest rated Miscellaneous book, which I was surprised. So I had to put all of it on Goodreads, because Storycraft doesn't allow you to sort things by rating, at least not that I could find. So I had to go through and put my entire TBR on Goodreads in order to sort it. But I was surprised because my lowest rated book was a 3-star, which I'm okay with, quite honestly. And it was Antiquity in Gotham. So this is about the architecture of New York City, and the inspirations that it drew from. So I'm actually really excited. I really love reading about architecture. Once upon a time, I wanted to be an architect until I realized how much math is involved, and then I promptly changed my mind. But if it was possible to be like a legit like building historian, which it probably is, and I just haven't like researched it, I probably would have kind of gone that route because I really love the history of architecture. So I'm actually really looking forward to this. However, it's not an audiobook, obviously, because I'm assuming there are lots of pictures. Yep, there we go. So Great, well I wanted a classic, so... With an odd number of pages. Interesting, okay. So for the second book, I got a classic with an odd number of pages. Unfortunately, the classic that I was aiming for, I don't have a physical copy of it, so I was going to get it through an ebook. And they don't list pages, obviously. So I couldn't get it, which means I get that extra book that I wanted. So I went through all the books on my physical shelves, and I looked at where the story stopped. So I didn't do total pages. I looked at where the story ended and what page it ended on to figure it out. And so I had like 4 different options that ended on odd numbers. I ended up choosing Wide Sargasso Sea by Rhys, I'm assuming. This is... I don't want to say fan fiction. This is about the big secret in Jane Eyre. I don't want to give spoilers for that. So it's about the big secret and that perspective. That's really all I can say without giving a spoiler for Jane Eyre. So yeah, I am really looking forward to, though, because I've had it on my radar for a while, pretty much since I read Jane Eyre, and I was like, I wish they had focused on this a bit more. And so a friend of mine, Ellis, recommended it to me, so I'm happy I can finally read it. Third roll, 3, 2, 3, which is romance. 1, 2, 3, which is Jewish. 1, 2, 3, which is roll again. I think I might go Jewish because I recently got some new Jewish books. They're all Jewish romance, but that's okay. There we go. Ooh, the best cover. Oh, I like that. Okay. For a Jewish book with the best cover, I've mentioned a couple times, I am a subscriber for TBR, which is Tailored Book Recommendations. This isn't a sponsor, I just have been using them for like a year. And I just got my like November update. And it was all Jewish books, which I appreciated. And one of them was this one. And honestly, like, it's really pretty. It was really easy. I actually got these Monday night. I got this one Monday night. What TBR said was, this is a contemporary romance with discussions on Jewish spirituality and art that I think you'll appreciate. In it, a one-night stand leads to something more for a queer graduate student whose capstone project on Jewish spirituality inspires her to explore the complexities of her ex-Orthodox identity. So, honestly, it's kind of hitting like all the things I'm interested in. So I'm really looking forward to this one too. I'm looking forward to all the books so far. I'm expecting that to change. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Jewish, fantasy, or any of these. Alright, let's go ahead and go with fantasy. I don't think I've read a fantasy in a while. Summer vibes. That is the opposite of what I'm going for. Okay. For a fantasy with summer vibes, this was a little hard, mainly because I'm a very seasonal person. I don't necessarily like having to go outside of the current season, which for me, I would define this as winter. So having to go with summer was difficult. Plus, I just didn't have any like books that really gave off summer vibes. Except this one. And honestly, to me, I would say this is more spring, but I will take it. So, it's the Wisteria Society of Lady Scoundrels. I know this is a romance. I believe it's Victorian. And it is about a woman who is a thief or training to be a thief. A thief. She's a thief. And she has to work with someone who is... Oh, she has to work with someone who's an assassin. So, honestly, it sounds like it's just gonna be fun. My storygraph said that it was like very lighthearted and adventurous, so that to me is summer vibes. So there we go. And for the fifth roll, 4, 1, 2, 3, Forge Classic, 1, 2, 3, Forge Classic, 2, 3, 4, Miscellaneous. Let's go ahead and go with Miscellaneous, just to have a bit of fun. Ooh. Okay, it's a Siri pick, which is the most chaotic option. Okay. Siri pick. Siri pick is the scariest thing in the world because she just picks a number. And she certainly picked a number. Isn't quite what I would have picked up, but I do appreciate that it's short. Sunset Lodge in Georgetown is a nonfiction book about a brothel in Georgetown that was quite popular at a point in time. And I got this book in South Carolina last summer, which was close to Georgetown. I always appreciate getting nonfiction books about the area. Like, even the first book, Antiquity in Gotham, I got that while I was in New York City. So I tend to pick up history books while I'm traveling. So I am really interested in getting to read this one finally. And it is pretty short. It's very tight, but it's less than 200 pages. So for the sixth roll, you know, I might add one. If I can. Land on a roll again. Just for some added fun. And because I will be driving a lot. And so having more audiobooks is probably a good idea. 6. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Can't do that. 3, 4, 5, 6, which is classics. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is psychology. I haven't read a psychology book in a really long time. And the one I had on my list for last month I didn't read. Fine. Ugh. Lowest rated. Great. That'll make me want to read it. Psychology book that is the lowest rated. I made a joke that I wasn't going to want to read this. I was right. My definition of psychology is a little loose. I tend to include all of my education about sex books part of psychology just because of my job, and I'm not going to give you more detail on that, but I combine them. I'm regretting that in this moment. I will say the rating was, I believe it's close to a 3-star. Maybe 3.24, I think. That's the number sort of jumping out at me. The sexual life of ancient Rome. Yeah. I can't tell you anything about it besides it's a history book, probably, about the sexual life in ancient Rome. It is a chonker. Oh, there's Roman poetry. That's fun. So this will be interesting. Yeah, so far, only 2 of the books on my TBR are audiobooks, which is not the best, because I mentioned I'm going to be driving a lot in December. So I don't know what I don't know what I'm going to do. Yeah. This is going to destroy me. Alright, let's see if we land on a roll again. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Jewish. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Romance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Classic. I'd say we should probably go romance because we haven't gotten any yet. So no added book this month. I missed my one opportunity for that. Because I hadn't decided yet. Oh, okay, cool. Winter vibes. Perfect. So, there we go. There's Nala. A romance that is winter vibes. This will look familiar because it was on last month's TBR too. Mr. Jingle Bells. I will say this is available on audiobook, but I've already listened to a sample and I know I don't like the narrator's voice. So I won't be listening to it on audiobook. Unless I, like, absolutely do not get to it before I drive down to my dad's for Christmas. And then I might just have to tough it out. Because that's a 12-hour drive. Why wouldn't I listen to this? So, this is an enemies to lovers. It's very Hallmark trope heavy. It's also MM romance. I'm looking forward to it. I want to read it. I just didn't like the narrator. So, those are my books for December. But wait, it's not done. I do have to read Fires in the Mirror. It is a play. I have to read this for my class, and it is about a... I don't think riot is the right word. Protest? It's about a conflict that occurred in Crown Heights in Brooklyn between the African American people living there and the Jewish people living there. Those two populations were very, like, concentrated in this neighborhood in, I want to say, in 1991. Thank you. I just thanked the book for giving me information. And so this is a one-woman play that was compiled from interviews that the playwright spoke to people who, you know, were around at that time to get the different perspectives. And so I'm really interested in it. It's fairly short, and I will be reading it next week. So there's that. I also have to read The Little Nugget by P.G. Wodehouse. As usual, I go into P.G. Wodehouse blind. I don't really know what the story is about. I know that I know it takes place at a boys' school, but it's not technically like a school book. And I believe the main character is kidnapped and I want to say ransomed, but I don't know if that's accurate. So I know the main character is kidnapped. That's about all I know. But it's P.G. Wodehouse. It's a standalone novel. I tend to like those more, honestly. So I am looking forward to this one, especially after last month's book, which I absolutely hated. So, yeah. And, finally, my punishment book. I will say, I think my dad took it a little easy on me, which I appreciate. He also tried to find a holiday book, and he did, technically. So what he found is Higher by Roz Alexander. It is a sapphic romance that is also Jewish and takes place around Rosh Hashanah, which is a holiday. It is a holiday that typically happens in September and October, but I will take it. You know, I love Rosh Hashanah. I have no issue going back to those vibes, and honestly, I think it'll be really good. And it's fairly short. However, not on audiobook. So literally my TBR is 2 books on audiobook, which is not a lot. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. Maybe I'll just, I don't know, listen to, maybe I'll just find random holiday books on Audible or Libby or whatever, and maybe just do that. We'll see. So those are my books for December. Not very, like, winter themed at all, but what can you do? If you have read any of these books or have interest in reading any of these books, please leave a comment, or if you just want to say hi, that'd be cool too. Like the video, subscribe, click the notification bell, all that good stuff. I really appreciate it. And also make sure to subscribe so that you can watch my reading vlogs, so that you get to see what my opinions and thoughts are in real time. But I will check you guys in the next one. Bye!